Hey guys, LaserBolt here, and welcome to another episode. Today I'm going to show you how easy it is to build your own computer. Stay tuned. So welcome back to part 2 of how to build your computer. In the first part we talked about how to pick out your parts, how to make sure they're all compatible with each other, where to get them from, and where to get the best price. And there's going to be a link to that video at the end of this one or in the description. You can check that out. But it's been about a week and the parts finally got here and I'm ready to start building this thing. The one thing I definitely wanted to emphasize is don't be intimidated. I mean, look at this. Here's the complete computer build ready to be put together, and there's only 6 parts total. Building a computer nowadays just really isn't all that hard. Okay, first thing we need to do to get started is to take this case apart.
But taking on a challenge is a lot like riding a horse, isn't it? If you're comfortable while you're doing it, you're probably doing it wrong.
All right, let's take a look inside here and see what we're in for. We got a couple fans in the front. We got one in the back here, so that's nice. Each one of them has its own plug. And we've got these wires to deal with. Let's see here. This one is a USB plug. That's nice. That's just for a regular old USB with the white plastic center. Front panel power switch and the reset switch, and the HDD LED. We have an HD audio plug, and the last thing is a USB 3 plug. Before we get started, let's take a look at the motherboard here and see where everything's laid out at. Generally the last few motherboards I've seen where everything was kind of laid out in the same place, so it shouldn't be too hard to find it all. Of course, this is going to be where your 8-pin power supply goes, your 24-pin power supply. We're going to need 4 fan headers. We've got a fan header down here, system fan. Here's where we're going to plug in the CPU fan. It's even labeled CPU fan. Yeah, there's another place to plug in a fan, and there's another one to plug in a fan. So we've got all 4 of our fans covered. Here's where we're going to plug in our SATA drive, our SSD drive with the SATA plug. That's where that's going to go. Here's where our USB 3 plug is going to go. Alrighty, there we have the central processor ready to go. If you look really closely in the bottom corner there, you'll see a little gold triangle. Very tiny little thing. The other corners just have a gold dot, but this gold triangle is important. That's what's going to go pointing in this direction right here. See the triangle on the corner of that? So that helps make sure that it's in the right way. This thing comes up. Always love the feel of a processor, how they're always heavier than they look. Let's see. Drop it in there just like that. Put the lid back down. This cover will pop off once we hit this lever. And just like that, we have ourselves a processor. The next step is to install this here CPU fan. You see you have the thermal paste going on. Don't mess with that. These Intel coolers don't even need screws. They just have these pins that you push in, so that's nice. They go in these 4 holes here. All right, just like that. Now it's time to push in these pins. There you go, 4 little clicks and everything is in place. That always seems like it's a little bit too easy, but that's how it is with these Intel ones. Like I said, there's no screws. Just push in these tabs so they click and they stay in place. Okay, now we got our fan header going on here. Make sure it goes this way. That's the only way it'll plug in. And we are on our way. Here's our 16 gigabytes of RAM to 8 gig sticks. That should work really nice. All right, look at these beauties. A couple of VULCAN Z T-Force. You see how these two are actually a little lighter gray than the dark black of the other two. Manufacturers almost always recommend that you use the 2 slots that are furthest away from your CPU. So that'll be these 2. Open up these little clamps. Line up the little notch here. Click. Line up your notches. Just like that, they click into place, and we got ourselves a RAM. It's going quick already. I think we're already about set to put this into the case. Let's do this. Okay, we have the inside of the case here going on. You'll see I've already installed all the little standoffs that we're going to need. Now we need to put in the I/O shield. It snaps into place, and we do that now. The motherboard can stick out in the back here with all your plugs and all that. The motherboard slides in here just like that. We've got everything over here poking out of the holes like they're supposed to, everything lined up just right. We put these screws in here and we'll be all set.
So you've got Coventry City this weekend, where you're heavily favoured. You think this will end your team's embarrassing streak of draws?
Oh, Lord, I've never been embarrassed about having streaks in my drawers. It's all part of growing up. Yeah.
All right, now we're ready to install the power supply. We're only gonna need one SATA cable. This will be for our SSD drive. So now we've got a SATA plug for that. Most cases have a grill down here at the bottom, so when you install your power supply, you make sure that your fan is pointing down. In the interest of keeping everything tidy here, let's go ahead and run these cables through these holes, and then they'll come through the back of the computer and out where I'm gonna need them. There we go, it all fits in there nicely like that, and it comes supplied with a couple screws. We'll pop these screws in and secure this.
I'm a visual learner, so that's very helpful. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, let's get some power to this beast. The 8-pin supplementary power goes right here, and so I've kind of routed that around. This one actually comes in 2 plugs, but you put them together and it fits in the 8-pin connector over here. Clicks in there just like that. Now we plug in this 24-pin connector, which goes right down here. We've got power now, both of them are going. Next, let's plug in the rest of these fans. There's only 3 of them. I'm gonna plug one of them in over here, one of them in over here, and one of them in right there. All right, we've plugged our fans in. Those are good to go. We've got our USB header over here. That gets plugged into this front USB. Notice it has 10 pins and one of them is blocked off. Pretty much like this, has 10 pins and one of them is missing. So perfect, that's where it goes. There. All right, here's our HD audio plug. It's kind of the same deal. It also has 10 pins and a different one is missing. If you look down here, you'll see a 10-pin thing with one of them missing called F audio for front audio. We'll plug it in right there. Done. And we have our USB 3.0 plug coming out here. Perfect. Now it is time to plug in these front panel headers. This is where they go to in here. Look down here at the bottom, you'll see there's a little chart that shows where everything goes. So the HD LED goes right here, the reset switch goes here, and the power switch goes up above it. So give me a second, I'll plug those in. And there you have it. Those popped in real easy this time. Sometimes they can be kind of a pain in the neck because they're tiny, but that worked out real good. There they are. This case comes with 2 trays that we can use for our 2.5-inch SSD drive. I'm going to use this one right here. So once you take the thumb screw off, it just kind of folds down like that, and let's attach that SSD.
Hey, Jamie, what would you rather be, a lion or a panda?
Coach, I'm me. Why would I want to be anything else?
I'm not sure you realize how psychologically healthy that actually is.
Cheers.
Now we just push it back up into place. Put that thumb screw back in. On these SATA cables, both plugs are the exact same on both ends. We're going to plug one end of it in right over here where it's called SATA 1. There's 4 of them, but we just need the one. There you go, just like that. Let's go ahead and route this through the nearest hole. All right, flip the case around here and see what's going on. Here you can see our SSD, and here's where our plugs go. First, let's plug in the SATA power. This is the cable that we had coming out of our power supply. Of course, it goes into the big one right here. There you go, that SSD's got power. Now we plug in the data cable, and it'll be ready to go. I believe we're done here. Let's go ahead and slap this case together.
I'm going to go back to sleep, and then I'm going to order a huge breakfast on your tab.
That's a pro move right there.
Well, that all went together nicely. Good beans. Last step before we put the front cover on is to, let's plug this thing in. All right, let's fire this beast up and make sure she works. Here we go. Okay, look at that, perfectly. Everything seems to be lit up. All the fans are working. It's relatively quiet. Very good news. Of course, this doesn't have an operating system in here yet, so it's not quite ready to run, but at least we know that everything's plugged in right. That's actually kind of neat looking. I like that. Let's go ahead and slap this cover back on there and get the whole thing put together and see what it looks like. All right, look at that. This beast is done. These appear to be the antennas. These screw in right back here, and we'll have some nice Wi-Fi. Those are big antennas, but should do the trick. This computer is ready to use. Look at this beast. I think all we're going to need is maybe to update the BIOS on the motherboard, install Windows 10 on here, and this beast will be ready to go. Very nice. Very happy with the whole thing. So a very wise man once said, your focus determines your reality. So spend some time focusing on some positive things. Focus on the things that make you happy, and you will change your reality. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Bye now.